Hello and welcome. I'm Rossy Sanchez, and this is Mindful Evenings. Mindful Evenings is, in the words of one of my followers, not just another meditation thing. It's a bit of science, emotional intelligence, and a bit of story peppered with my unique sense of humor. Every month, we take a light but deep dive into common behaviors and relationship issues and use the power of focus to tap into who we truly are so we can start understanding, appreciating, and loving ourselves and those around us more and creating the life we came here to live. Thank you for being here tonight to discover how you can find yourself, find your passion. The sequence will be as follows. I'll tell you a story, introduce some guiding principles, followed by a mindfulness practice, and finally, there will be open sharing if desired. To start, I want to invite you to get comfortable and relax. We're going to breathe. If you're seated, place your feet on the floor, roll your shoulders back, let out your belly, place your hands on your lap, facing to the sky, and close your eyes. And let's take 3 deep and satisfying breaths. Breathe in for a count of 4 and breathe out for a count of 8. One more time. And again. Nice. I was back at Jackson Memorial Hospital with my mother for my weekly dose of torture at the hands of a scary 7-foot German doctor with a bedside manner of Frankenstein, who would inject this miracle fluid into huge welts on my face and neck. The pressure was so immense, I felt my skin would burst. I was 10 years old then and had a horrible case of acne. It wasn't only on my face and neck, but on my chest, my back, my arms. And for years, my parents shuttled me from one specialist to another in search of a cure. One of them recommended squeezing all my pimples to get rid of them. This exercise proved not only to be extremely painful, but left huge scars all over my upper body. I was so ashamed of my scars. I always hid them. Except for the beach, I never uncovered my arms, never revealed my shoulders, never showed a bit of cleavage. I hid under long sleeves, even in the sweltering Miami heat. But the clothes didn't just cover the scars, they were also intended to mask the excess weight I carried since childhood. For years, I saw everything, did everything, experienced everything through my perception of my body. Even in the midst of receiving an award, or traveling in a foreign country, or making love, I would be pinching my muffin top more or less inconspicuously to remind myself that I wasn't worthy because I was fat. For most of my life, I saw myself through the veil of extra pounds and pimples. And then one day at university, I was having a conversation with a counselor about my grades. And somehow we got onto the subject of my arms and scars and hiding. And he very wisely led me to see that I was holding myself back, not performing at my peak in school, but also imprisoning myself by covering up who I truly was. And that was my aha moment. The moment I decided to allow myself to break free from this self induced shame. And slowly, I started to liberate my body and my skin. My path from self loathing to self loving spans decades. But whether it was the weight or the scars, my transformation started with a simple premise. I had to accept myself as I was before I could change any part of me. How could I possibly accept myself with 30 extra pounds and a landmine of scars? It became easier once I realized that I'm much more than just a body, that the body is just a vessel that helps us navigate this world we live in. But it's no ordinary vessel. This body of ours is a priceless work of art. It's masterful. Our bodies practically run themselves with very little effort on our part. I mean, have your lungs ever asked you for help pumping air? Or has your heart ever put you on notice that it was going to take a few days off? Don't worry. You just have to beat 24 hours straight and manage a bit of blood work. I'll be back in a week. No. Normally, our bodies go on about the business of keeping us alive, even when we insist on talking down to them or mistreating them. Once I realized that, I stopped harassing my body. I started loving on it. Every morning, I would wink at the mirror and throw myself a kiss. I can't say this was easy at the beginning. Heck, I couldn't even hold my own stare at first. It was extremely awkward, but I kept at it. And little by little, I showed myself more and more love. And today, it's a freaking honeymoon every morning in front of the mirror. The joy that I get from not only saying kind, gentle, and adoring words to myself, but also from feeling them is beyond anything I could have imagined. I literally feel myself glow, regardless of what may be going on. And I know I'm getting older, like everybody else, and I've gained a few COVID pounds, like most everybody else, except my mother. But beyond the extra wrinkles and the little pouch, I'm still this beautiful woman who's smart, funny, playful, honest, loving, generous, passionate, adventurous. Should I go on? This is what I mean. There is so much to us, so much goodness, so much love inside every single one of us. This isn't unique to me. We're all wonderfully amazing. Or to use my favorite word when it comes to describing women, we're all magnificent. This path to self love and acceptance is what I want to share with you today, along with the three things that can get you there. The first principle is self awareness, which is the ability to pay attention to what's going on inside of you at any point in time, the thoughts that arise, and the emotions that accompany them, as well as the reasons for the emotions. Imagine you're a lighthouse and the ships are your emotions, and you're constantly scanning the waters and the ships, your emotions, and inquiring about how they got there and what their mission is. Why is this important? Because typically, what happens is that we react to people, circumstances, and events without even knowing why sometimes. And that's because we may not be in touch with our emotions. We feel them, but we don't know the origins of them or why they bubble up when they do. We're also distracted in our heads, and therefore things catch us by surprise. So we may blame others and complain about how things aren't working for us, but we don't take the time to inquire why we behave the way we behave and try to understand the other's perspectives. Self awareness is key to getting back to yourself, to truly understanding what, why you do what you do, what's underneath the triggers, and how you react to them. You stop and observe, research the annals of your life, and decide to inquire further to get to the root of your emotions. You find your own answers. The second principle is self compassion. And self compassion refers to treating ourselves with the same patience, kindness, and understanding as we would treat our best friend when he or she is suffering. Compassion is the highest level of empathy. That is when you see someone suffering, and regardless of how bad they are, you don't look away. You help them any way you can. That kind of unconditional acceptance turned inward is what we need to give ourselves when we're experiencing fear, shame, guilt, regret, and other very sticky emotions that love to latch on to experiences and not let them go. Why is this important? Because I don't have to tell you that we're our own worst critic. From a very early age, we've gone through life collecting and donning hand me downs of conditioning, others placed on us, as well as a few we picked out ourselves based on how we saw ourselves and our perception of how we compare to others. I'm lazy, I'm weak, I'm incompetent, I'm not reliable, not funny, not smart, not capable, not beautiful, not thin, not interesting, not rich, not deserving, not worthy enough. Sound familiar? This conditioning turns into limiting beliefs that color every aspect of our lives, like my weight and pimples did with me. We then start to see life through those colors. And because what we believe we see, that's exactly what we're going to get. It's like if you look at yourself like I did and say, I'm fat, and keep repeating this to yourself. You could starve yourself and put in hours at the gym every day for months, but you will not lose weight. And if you do, it'll just be temporary. Why? Because your focus is on being fat. That may not be what you want at all, but that's what you're focused on. That's what you keep repeating to yourself. That is what you're vibrating at. and what you will continue to attract to yourself. So, no matter what you do, you can only gain weight until you change the way you feel about yourself. What you focus on grows. Continuous thoughts become pathways in your brain. And the only way to change your reality is to change how you see it, talk about it, but more importantly, feel about it and experience it, even if it's only in your mind. Something else that happens when you're being self critical is that you tend to isolate. No one else understands me. I'm alone in this. But nothing could be further from the truth. Self compassion allows us to see that we're not alone, that our issues are not just the domain of one, that we all have flaws, that we all make mistakes, that we all are perfectly imperfect. Isn't that what you would tell your best friend? Principle number three, one of my favorites, is passion. In emotional intelligence terms, that is referred to as motivation, which we all know has to do with enthusiasm, drive, initiative, ambition, etc. And while all of these nouns are powerful and can lead us to get off our butts and do great things, I believe that what we need to do is tap into our passion. Because once you know who you are, once you accept yourself as you are and start falling in love with the real you, you can then tap into your magic, your spark, what makes you come alive, your purpose, the kind of work you would do for free. You won't need to drive yourself, you won't need to increase your enthusiasm or set your ambition on fire because you are on fire. And what you'll need to do is hang on because the momentum is going to catapult you forward. That is why I focus on passion as the greatest engine for reaching our dreams. Our passions are our dreams in action. And because they're so personal and we're so invested in them, living our passion requires little effort and can produce great joy. The thread that ties it all together, these three principles, is mindfulness. It makes them all possible and achievable in much less time than it would take if you did this out here, taking life at face value and trying to figure out what everyone else is doing and how they're affecting you. Mindfulness is the windshield wiper, if you will, that allows you to see things for what they are without judgment. Mindfulness is a practice you can do at any time of the day as you go on about your business. It's the gentle awareness that allows you to see not only what's going on, but where your thoughts and emotions are at any given moment. It's, in the words of John Kabat-Zinn, a mindfulness guru, mindfulness is intentionally paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Why the focus on paying attention? Because we do it so rarely. According to a Harvard study, our mind wanders about 50% of the time. Where's it going? To the past or the future, anywhere but the present moment. You'll notice that you're either ruminating about something that happened, something you regret doing or not doing, something you lost, something you wanted to happen and didn't, or you're fast forwarding to what you want to happen or putting on the brakes to something you don't want to happen and are possibly already suffering in anticipation of this, which hasn't happened yet. In essence, we're usually thinking about I, me, and mine, and we're going through life on autopilot. If you don't believe me, can you recall what you had for lunch yesterday? Mindfulness is also a type of meditation. And meditation is not just for monks in orange robes or white loincloths sitting cross legged in caves for 30 years. Millions of people the world over practice meditation today. Why? Because it's transformational. There is nothing mystical or woo woo about meditation. Simply put, meditation is, again, paying attention to the way our mind actually works. And just like there are many types of sports, there are many types of meditations. And just like sports can lead you to physical fitness, meditation can guide you to mental fitness, to achieve clarity, peace, confidence, creativity, and bliss. Scientific studies have also shown that meditation can help improve sleep, reduce anxiety and stress, lower blood pressure, decrease pain, and provide a host of other health benefits. Although I had been doing the I love you, amazing woman mirror trick for years, and it worked its magic, it wasn't until I started meditating on a regular basis that I started to feel happier, freer, more open and accepting, and gained a lot more clarity about every aspect of my life. My relationships took on a much deeper and satisfying meaning, and not just with those closest to me, but with everyone I come in contact with, like the new cashier, the supermarket. My creativity spiked, and I've discovered my sense of purpose. More importantly, I now have an overall appreciation, and in a word, okay, maybe two, unconditional love for myself as I am, foibles and all, and for my life as it is, challenges and the rest of it. Meditation helped break down the barriers that were holding me back from being me. It opened the door to my own self awareness, self compassion, and the explosion of my passion. And it's this openness, acceptance, knowingness, and creativity that I want you to experience as well. So, what do you say we do a guided meditation practice? But before we do, I want you to think of a belief you have about yourself that holds you back. This is something you may dislike about yourself and you think about often, which prevents you from going after what you really want. Bring it to mind for a second and then let it go. And now get comfortable. Feet flat on the floor, shoulders back and down, hands on your lap, open to the sky. Close your eyes and let your belly come out to play. And let's take 3 deep and satisfying breaths. This time, we're going to breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for 4, and breathe out for a count of 8. Again, in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8. One more time. Now, picture yourself standing by a peaceful river. This can be a river that you played in as a child, or one that you encountered during one of your travels. Perhaps it's a river you saw in a movie or in a poster. You look around, there is no one else there. This placid river is all yours and is calling you. Feeling completely safe, you decide to go for a swim. The water is crystal clear and the temperature just perfect. You slowly step one foot into the river, and as you do, you begin to feel lighter. You then step in with your other foot and quickly begin to experience a sense of weightlessness. You look down and notice, in amazement, that your feet have disappeared. They've dissolved into the water. Suddenly, as if from nowhere, a great sense of joy overtakes you. And you continue to immerse yourself into the river, watching as your body becomes invisible. And finally, not knowing what to expect, but with great excitement, you close your eyes and lean back into the water, immersing your head and your face completely. You check in, you open your invisible eyes and stare at the sky. You can still see. You are in awe of this moment. You can still think. You continue to experience the rush of joy coursing through your being. You can still feel. You have become the river. The river is you. You release all tension and let yourself go, allowing the wind and the current to guide you. A flock of swallows hovers overhead, staging a beautifully choreographed dance. You marvel at their extraordinary coordination and silently thank them for their performance. After all, you know it was meant for you. You're feeling more relaxed and at ease now than you have in a long time. You can't see your body, but you can feel your breath creating little ripples all around you as you breathe in and breathe out. You're flowing, carried by the current, without a care in the world. If at any time your mind happens to wander and thoughts start making their appearance, just acknowledge them. Sometimes that is all that's needed for them to go on their way. Like a toddler who clamors for attention and then quickly moves on once he's been attended to. Just get back to your breath. Get back to being a river. As you continue to drift, you feel the sun's rays reflecting off the surface of the water. You feel enveloped in the sun's warm caress. You feel loved and cared for. You feel free, expansive, boundless. You are a river. You have nowhere to go than where the current takes you. You have nothing to do but flow. For the next 2 minutes, just flow like a river. As you continue your blissful journey downstream without a care in the world, you notice a rock up ahead. Suddenly, your attention is drawn to that rock. You don't want to crash into it. You are the river. What can you do? Do you stop your tranquil flow and turn around? Do you gather all your hydropower and attempt to break down this rock? Or perhaps you swirl around it? You need not do anything. You can't turn around. The current is taking you downstream. Breaking down a rock takes time and enormous effort. Swirling around it takes great energy. All you have to do when you come upon the rock is observe it closely. Does it look familiar? As you look at it closely, you realize that this rock is the belief that you hold about yourself and is setting you back. But the rock isn't real. It's just a thought that you've held on to and has become a belief and is now threatening to block your flow. Now that you're close to it, you may want to ask it where it came from. Was it something someone said a long time ago, perhaps? Something you experienced? Or a label you adopted as you looked around and compare yourself to others that led you to think this about yourself? Take some time and inquire. You may also want to ask it why it got so big. As you look closely at this belief, this rock that is now challenging your path, you may notice feelings or sensations arising in your body. You may feel tightness in your belly, or perhaps pressure in your chest, or tension in your shoulders or neck. Maybe you feel cold, or hot, or numb. There's no need to judge your feelings, no need to judge yourself. There is no right or wrong here. You are just becoming aware of the thought as it manifests as emotions, as feelings and sensations in the body. Focus your attention on these emotions, these feelings and sensations. Get acquainted with them. When we pay close attention to them, emotions can be extremely useful as they provide valuable information. And just like thoughts, sometimes all they want is to be acknowledged, examined before they decide to move along of their own accord. If at any time the feelings become too overwhelming, turn your awareness to your breath, that most faithful of friends, the one that never leaves your side. Focus on how it causes your belly and chest to rise and fall in unison, and the ripples it makes on the surface of the water. Now that you've allowed yourself to get close to the rock and have realized that it's not really an obstacle, that it's just an illusion, a thought you've latched onto, which may be causing discomfort in your body, imagine yourself just flowing right through the middle of it. After all, it's a mirage. And for the next 2 minutes, allow yourself to drift peacefully downstream again, carried by the current and the wind and embraced by the sun. Welcome. You have reached the riverbed. Your ride has ended, but the river is always there, inside of you, waiting to be accessed. All you have to do is take some time for yourself. Breathe, dip your toe in the water, and allow yourself to disappear into the present moment. Now it is time to bring yourself slowly back into your body. With your eyes still closed, make gentle movements with your hands and feet. As you do so, remember that thoughts themselves are not what keep us stuck. Clinging to the thoughts to the point where they become part of our life story, a self fulfilling prophecy, is what keeps us stuck. And just like the rock, there's no need to blast them, no need to get rid of them or maneuver around them, no need to do anything but see them for what they are. In the mere process of observing your thoughts, of becoming aware of them, you are disintegrating the rock, the limiting beliefs that keep you from realizing your magnificent potential. Now take 3 deep breaths, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back. If you have any quick comments, please drop them in the chat. If after your short river ride, you're interested in turning your rocks into pebbles, I invite you to join me in a new 3-hour workshop where I will guide you through the 3 principles I outlined earlier with the aim of getting you ever closer to you, the real you, the magnificent you. This 3-hour workshop will introduce you to how the emotional brain works and how we feel and deal with emotions. So you can start distinguishing between yourself, your thoughts, and emotions, and what's actually going on in the moment. You'll learn why you beat up on yourself like you do, so you can start to dial down your inner critic and turn self deprecation into self appreciation. And you'll learn to identify and diffuse triggers, which are usually just reminders of experiences and not necessarily caused by someone else. So you can start to respond rather than react. And you'll learn how to stop focusing on the things you dislike about yourself so you can uncover those magnificent qualities you possess, which are worth celebrating and sharing with the world. And once you do, you'll make a list of them and be ready to get in front of the camera for a 3+ things I love about myself photo shoot with yours truly. The workshop will take place on Saturday, August 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time and is being offered at an introductory price of $49, which includes a 2-hour photo shoot. If you can't wait to sign up, the registration link is in the chat. Before I open it up to discussion, I just want to add that decades have passed and my scars have somewhat faded, but they're still there. I just don't see them. Haven't for years. Those who know me and you looking at me right now know that I would love to wear these slinky tops and dresses during summer. My skin may not be perfect, but it's my skin and I love it. It turns golden in the summer and vanilla in the winter. but I won't hold that against it. I can honestly say that regardless of the season, I now feel not just good, but pretty darn great in my own skin. And that, to me, is truly liberating. Okay, your turn. Any thoughts? By the way, does anyone feel wet or sticky or have wrinkly skin? Just kidding. Does anyone want to comment on their journey or any part of the experience tonight?
Rossy, that was amazing. I have never experienced such depth. It was deep because I know we can all relate to what you mentioned or what you said. I mean, as a child, I remember the acne, or teenager, the acne, the yo-yo diet, and I mean that was deep. Definitely make me reflect. Where that I've come where I am today, but I still have some ways to go.
It never ends. I mean, we're always going to be coming up against something else and working on that. But yeah, it's that realization that, hey, it's not a big deal. It's not who I am, right? That can help you make that switch. Thank you. Anybody else? Boy, this was deep. Thank you, Daisy. Anyone still at the river?
Yeah, I'm still by the river.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Rossy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, I can understand if you're a little bit caught up in your own emotions. Well, if no one else has anything to add, I look forward to having you join me in this enlightening path of self discovery in my 3+ things I love about myself workshop. Find yourself, find your passion. Remember, it's Saturday, August 28th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Pacific time on Zoom.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. In the meantime, I'll continue to post on social media, send out emails, and post videos on YouTube. So please share, like, and subscribe so that I can get my own YouTube channel name. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you all very much for coming. And until next month, I'm Rossy Sanchez, and this is Mindful Evenings. Good night.
Thank you, Rossy. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Good night.